we go. Oh, awesome. So we're going to take two, start over again. This is Lois Kofi with Lois Kofi Enterprises. And I've got one more person joining us. Welcome, Wilma. Welcome, welcome. So we're just diving in. Your timing is perfect. So what is it that you need today? What would you like to create? If you have a specific goal on how you need to best pivot here and now, and I will give you kind of a teaser. I do have some free gifts at the end. I hope you can stay all the way to the end. My goal is to go through really probably, it's going to be more like 40 minutes, okay, of coaching, training, action plan, how to balance yourself in this new world that we live in, which, you know, I talk to some futurists and people who study these kind of pandemics, and they say, you know, buckle up, this is going to be a 3-year journey. And so, you know, it's good to pivot now if you haven't already felt like you pivoted. So if you have a goal, put it in the chat. Otherwise, just consume the information, take copious notes. I am a 12-week year certified trainer. One of my free gifts at the end has to do with that, and I'll explain more at the end. So we will have Q&A, so you guys can chime in at the end. So of course, the 2 outcomes is how you take action from this info. One of my big things, and I don't know if you guys can relate, but I attend a lot of Zooms, a lot of webinars, and I don't always take action from them. So my hope is that if you share a goal, you come here, you get something out of this that you can take action. And of course, I am going to share with you how for free and for one other opportunity, you can continue work with me past today if you so choose. So did you know that as of today, there's 100 days left in 2020? So we are truly in the home stretch. Next week is the beginning of what some people call Q4. For me, because I'm a huge fan of the 12-week year, it's the last, you know, 12 weeks of the year. So how can we really get done, you know, get more done in 12 weeks than the average person does in the year? You have that opportunity today to draw the line in the sand and say, you know what, I have not come what I came here to do this year, and I want to do something different starting in Q4. So a little bit about me. I'm going to go quick on this because I think a lot of you know my story, and I actually had a very, very, very successful multiple streams of income, multiple companies, business in real estate back in, or starting in 2000 to 2006. I really amassed a lot of success, and success is you know, a little ambiguous for me though. At that time in my life, being single, I was traveling the world, I was making multiple 6 figures, I had a mortgage company, I had business partners, I had investments in real estate, I was building my dream home in Arizona, and I thought I'd be a millionaire by the time I was 30. And then of course, this thing called the Great Recession happened, right? I don't know if anybody here was impacted by that, but I sure was. I felt like I got caught with my pants down and had all my eggs in one basket called real estate. And even though I had multiple streams of income, you know, I had a whole 180. And, you know, the beginning of the year, life was amazing. By the end of the year, I had almost nothing, including my car was repossessed, and just the day before my 30th birthday. So I got to be forced, and I consider it now a gift, at the time, not so much. I got to be forced to learn how to pivot and how to adapt. And that's been kind of a theme for a lot of people this year. You know, maybe you started a new business. Maybe your sales have shifted online. Feel free if you want to put in the chat. I won't be able to check the chat a ton, guys, but if you put something in the chat about, you know, what ultimately is happening in your world, you know, this is a positive, supportive environment. But I really I went through a lot of trauma because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't mentally prepared. I wasn't financially prepared. And then I lost my health and was really at the bottom of the barrel of life. Mental health is a passion of mine, suicidal thoughts. I went through all of that. And I, thankfully, because of mentors, coaches, and having grown up on a farm with my work ethic and never wanting to give up, even though there was many times I did want to, I rose above and I bounced back. And I'll be totally transparent with you. It took me about 5 years. and a lot of failing forward. Progress, not perfection, is one of my favorite things to remind you today. You may want to write that down. Progress, not perfection. I learned emotional intelligence through that process. I learned patience. I learned how to ask for help. So besides the fact that, I met my amazing husband and started a family, which was also a major shift, I found great mentors. I worked hard, and I made a lot of phone calls and a lot of face-to-face, belly-to-belly networking groups and all of that kind of stuff. And if it wouldn't have been for those mentors and coaches and that ability to keep moving forward in spite of being homeless and going through all that stuff, I don't know where I'd be today. So that's why I share my story with you guys, because as we head into 2021, there's, like I shared with you, some futurists and economists and people that I know that are, millionaires, and they're studying what's going on right now. They believe that this is a 2 to 3 year journey. So how are you pivoting? And here's the thing, I wasn't recession proof at the last recession, okay? But thankfully, and I say humbly, I was really learned a lot over the last 13 years working from home, how to build business and multiple streams of income, and understanding diversification. I was able to be prepared for this moment. So maybe people who are going through a struggle right now. You can even share this recording with them, because my hope today, guys, is to bring you hope. So I don't know if you saw this movie. It's one of my favorites of all time, Shawshank Redemption. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. I watched it at least 5 times during the Great Recession. And it was because it was a story of a man named Andy Dufresne who had major life changes. And he was, basically put into prison for 2 murders that he didn't do. One of them was his wife. One of them was her lover, and he had nothing to do with it, at least directly. He didn't pull the trigger, but he ended up in jail for a crime he didn't commit. Sometimes in life, like when the pandemic hit and maybe your sales are down, maybe you lost a loved one. I had 2 family members die unexpectedly, not because of COVID, but it all happened at the same time the pandemic hit. And you're like, whoa, dude, why did this happen to me? What I don't understand. How do I get through this? How do I grow through this? And this movie really helped me, because he didn't give up. And in this story, he was in jail for 19 years, again, for a crime he didn't commit. And he went through hell and back, and he never gave up hope. And he was able to escape from prison. There you go, spoiler alert. I gave the end of the movie away, so now you don't have to watch it. But it's really powerful in what I'm talking about today. Now, fast forward, and the reason I became a 12-week-year certified trainer, I know some of you had already shared, you want more balance. You want to be able to get your schedule figured out. We are going to talk about that today. But there's about 5 different things I need to take you through total to get to that point, because there's no such thing as an overnight success. That's why I say progress, not perfection. So when I read the book, The 12-Week Year, and again, if you haven't gotten it, I'd highly encourage you get it, especially if you want to finish 2020 really stronger than you started the year. Keep in mind, I had a lot of success early on. This was long before I read the book. I was an Ironman triathlete, and the idea behind peak performance and all the things you need and I need to do to sort of forget about the past and let go of, Zig Ziglar said, failure is an event, not a person. You can't judge your future by what 2020 may or may not have been for you, okay? That's just a really big reminder. And as I was a Ironman triathlete, there was a science that I studied called periodization. And periodization is compartmentalizing your day, your week, your month. And I'm setting the stage here for what we're going to talk about today. But what I discovered was when I went through the recession, I did a lot of subconscious sabotage and really was kind of lost mentally, had a lot of negative thoughts. It took me more than 5 years to really recover from that, because I was constantly sabotaging myself from that failure. So I don't know where you're at right now, but I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of trauma, a lot of disappointment, a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda. I really thought by now I would have been making more money, but then COVID hit, my business got shut down, things happen, right? And unfortunately, if you allow that to sabotage you, you lose path to your vision. And we're going to talk about that today and how to recapture that, because that's really, really critical to the point of a lot of you wanting to get balance and have better structure to your days, your weeks, and your months and the rest of 2020. So what I rediscovered was I had lost that Ironman triathlete mindset, that focus on taking care of my weeks, my days, my months, my hours. And really, as an Ironman, I was focused on, this was my biking workout, and all I did was biking. When I got into my swimming workout, all I did was swim. When I went for my run, all I did was run. And that's what I talk about, laser beam focus. And I did that in my business. That's why I was so successful. I lost that. And when I read the 12-week year, it was like, oh my gosh, I got rid of all the cobwebs, and I was able to add that to my business 5 years ago this summer. And I got to tell you guys, that book is what helped me rise from the ashes, along with the mentors, along with other tools like meditation. But I was able to get back that understanding that, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, anything is possible. And I'll share more about my story on that later. So what you really want to focus on, oops, it's not coming out the way I wanted to. There's 3 components of the 12-week year that I want you to write these words down, and I want you to put them on your fridge. I want you to put it on your journal. There's even, I have mine right here, a 12-week year journal. That's really awesome. And I put these words, I get a new one every 12 weeks, and I start a new 12-week journey. And my first word's accountability. Who are you accountable to? Because if it's just you, I'm going to have to tell you, looking in the mirror, we can be our worst enemies and our best self-sabotagers all day long. So make sure you have someone that is accountable to you. That's one part of the 12-week year. Commitment. Are you really, 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 really committed to the path that you're setting forth today that we're going to work on? Are you just interested? You've heard that before. I have no doubt a lot of you have attended seminars. I'm not telling you a whole lot of new things. I'm just packaging it a little bit differently. But are you really, truly committed to balancing your schedule? Are you really, truly committed to increasing your sales results? Are you really, truly committed to improve your marriage relationship? All those things, the goals that you're going to set for the next 100 days, are you really, truly committed? And then, of course, this is where my meditation practice really helped me, knowing that, you just, if life is happening and you feel like the world is crumbling down, just take it one moment by moment through these next 12 weeks or next 100 days. And just remember, progress, not perfection. You may want to write that next to greatness in the moment. Progress, not perfection. Because one of the things I learned, and I keep being reminded of, is our thoughts are what guide our actions, and our actions guide our results. So whatever you think is what you're going to create, right? Napoleon Hill. Same stuff that we've all heard. But have you really clearly studied your actions? Part of the problem with New Year's resolutions, because I've been in the health and fitness industry, I know Trinette's known me a long time, and I've coached thousands of athletes, I've coached thousands of business owners, and a lot of people just wait for a new month or a new year mostly, and then they think in 12-month time frames, and they're like, oh, I got time, I'll just start that diet next month. Yeah, you know what, I'm tired, I don't want to go to the gym anymore. Same thing happens in your business. So, and we take on probably too much. But if you focus on just 2 or 3 big rocks, and you take action on those 2 or 3 big rocks every day, you're gonna get results. And the cool thing is that's how you learned how to ride a bike. When you had a baby, if you were a mom or a dad and you had this newborn, right? It took them how many months before they could learn to walk or talk. So 12 weeks is a short period of time. I realize it's not the same as a baby learning how to walk or anything like that, but it's just a metaphor for making sure that you really are reflecting every day on your thoughts and then taking some kind of action every day and getting some kind of a result. So let's break that down into what I call my 5 foundational key concepts that I teach with all my clients, my Kofi sales formula, things that I've really studied and mastered, not just through the 12-week year, guys. This is 20 years of experience of succeeding at a high level, failing at a high level, and then coming back. So number one, part of what, and I'm going to get how this applies to the 12-week year is how are you building your mindset every day? And I don't just mean attending webinars and feeling good about yourself and then going about your day. That's why I said to make sure you take action on one thing from, if nothing else, one thing from today. But how do you build your mindset in the morning? You know, I have had times where I would reach for my phone first thing because that's where my alarm was on my phone. And I would check my text messages, or I would look at my email notifications. So I learned how to set the do not disturb on my phone and make sure that I make a conscious effort to just make sure I don't even get out of my bed until I've said my affirmations. I've done some deep breathing exercises and oftentimes my meditation practice, because how you start your day has a huge impact on how you finish your day. So a lot of you probably already do this. I'm not telling you anything brand new, but I always like to tell people before your feet even hit the floor, you don't check any text messages, you don't check any emails, you only pour in the positive stuff. And even having a conscious question saying, how am I showing up right here? That's the greatness in the moment thing right now throughout the day. So on my phone last year, thankfully before COVID hit, I had a coach who had me set reminders, alarms 3 times a day. And I put on your alarm, you can actually change the alarm and say, you know, you'd have a question, you can have an affirmation. So again, take copious notes on this stuff. But if you put an affirmation on there, when the alarm goes off, it'll actually speak that affirmation, or it'll, make you say it. So I would ask questions like, am I being authentic right now? Am I showing up with joy right now? Am I showing up with kindness right now? And I would have that alarm set at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. Because how many of us, we might start the day all happy and hunky-dory and fine. We get our workout in, we didn't check our email until 9 a.m. or whatever your perfect day looks like, right? But then something happened. Someone said something political on Facebook, or you happen to accidentally hear the news and it pissed you off. You know, something distracted you. And that's why I recommend not just how you focus on your start of the day, but if you set those alarms throughout the day and build on that, it can really help you stay focused and clear on that positive mindset. Because as things happen throughout the day, and they always will, you might hear a no. Someone says, no, I'm not ready to hire you. That could do something to you. Just remember, Louise Hay always said, thoughts are things and things can change. You can change them. You have the power. Again, if I were to have enough time, I'd go back to that slide, thoughts, actions, results. So you are a product of your thoughts and actions from the past 90 days or the past 9 months. And in some cases, subconscious trauma and all of those things, they travel with us, right? But if you work on your mindset daily and set daily goals, we're going to talk about that in a bit, then you'll always have that path and that target. And that's also what the 12-week year talks about. So the first component, and I'm not even getting to time management until the end. So spoiler alert, a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to manage my time better. I want to balance better. I want to do all the things, right? But even Brian Moran, the author of the 12-week year, he was on my podcast last month and he said, yeah, time is the last thing. First thing is your vision and your mindset. So how many of you here, and if you want, you can comment below, how many of you write out your vision every day? Have you ever done that? Okay, good, perfect. I can't see everyone, but writing out your vision every day is critical. It's something that because of that one exercise, that one thing, I've manifested a ton of stuff this year, last year, pretty much ever since I started doing that vision writing exercise. And I want you to take a moment, because again, we don't have enough time I love saying that because that, time management is my thing. We don't have enough time to talk about all of the things at a deeper level. But I want you to write out your vision right here, just like even just a few words, like where do you see yourself at the end of 2020? My favorite way to write that out, this is just me, you probably have your own way, is I am so happy and grateful I, blank. That's part of the 12-week year vision. Now, if you haven't read the book, don't sweat it. You could even say 1 year from today, like today's September 22nd, you could say, today is September 22nd, 2021, and I am so happy and grateful that blank. I want you to just pick one thing and write it down right now and make you work. Trinette knows I was a personal trainer. If you're my client, I'm going to make you do push-ups. We're not just going to talk about it. So write that down. And you could say December 31st, 2020, I am so happy and grateful that, I weigh X amount of pounds. I just finished my last 12-week year. This is my break week. And guess what? I hit my $10,000 income goal perfectly, but I didn't hit my weight loss goal. So guess what? Now Lois is writing down December 31st, 2020. I'm so happy and grateful I weigh, 160 pounds. I have no shame in telling you my weight. It's all good. So write that down. If again, December 31st or September 22nd, or maybe you have another date. I'll give you just 30 seconds. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, David. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. Having been in health and fitness industry, I now know how to put 30 pounds on and how to take it off. I'm so proud of that. I'm always learning. All right. So making sure you write that down every day. And I saw someone had note cards. Hey, whatever floats your boat. I put a vision board together at the end of 2019. I do this sometimes with my clients if that's their thing. Some people will do movies on their like PowerPoint slides and they just play it on movie and watch that. Whatever your thing, I record my vision and I listen to it on my phone, especially on the days where I'm like, screw it, I don't want to write my vision down. I'm kind of having a day, one of those days, a bad hair day, wake up on the wrong side of bed day, whatever that is for you. If you have multiple options, whether you speak it, write it, read it, see it, listen to it. Any one of those, and I would actually recommend having 2 or 3 because you just never know. I look at my vision board now, and even with the pandemic, and I've had clients who started with me before the pandemic, and they're still hitting their goals and still accomplishing everything they set forth to do. I've accomplished about 2/3 of my vision board already, even with everything that's happened this year. So that's just another tip for you guys to have those 5 different ways that you fuel your mind with your vision, spoken, written, see it, read it, listen to it. Next slide. So I already talked about this. The other thing is part of the 12-week year, and this is part of your action plan. I wanted you to go away with an action plan. Now, some of this may be, overwhelming. I do have a 3-hour workshop on Saturday that I'll tell you guys about at the end, and I'm gonna do some more free stuff at the end for you guys that can help you take this forward, okay? But today I want you to pick one or, just pick one, actually, one of your goals that you would like to see by the end of the year over the next 100 days. And I want you to make sure that it's also specific, measurable, attainable, risky, and time bound. Let's say you want to make, I don't know, $5,000. I'm just going to pick something that's, I think, attainable and realistic for people. You can do something else, but say you wanted to make $5,000 between now and December 31st, 2020. It's specific. I mean, maybe you'll say, I want to make $5,000 in my business, or $5,000 in affiliate income, or, however you want to phrase that. Just make sure it's clear. I had a client once who was just like, I'm just going to make $5,000 and it's going to show up however it's going to show up. And sometimes it actually worked, but I feel like you want to make it more specific. or you can leave it open. However, that income's going to come measurable. You need an amount or a weight, or, you know, if you're wanting to improve your marriage or your relationship, you might say something measurable like, you know, I'm so happy and grateful that, you know, we go on a weekly date night. You know, something, there's got to be a measure, because the universe responds when you're very clear and you're very specific. That's why I believe, because me and a lot of my clients had very clear goals and visions, and were following these principles at the beginning of the year, the pandemic didn't necessarily phase us. Is it attainable? Is it something that you really believe that you're committed to? Remember earlier, accountability, committed. Are you really committed to that, attaining that goal? Or is it just a pipe dream? Is it just something that you're plucking from air? Whatever. And if you don't know, you know, maybe that's where you want to journal out and figure out what is attainable for you. The R is, I put kind of 2 R's there: realistically risky. It kind of goes with attainable, but you want it to be risky enough where you get a little bit nervous, maybe a little scared. Getting outside of your comfort zone is so critical. Because if you stay inside of your comfort zone, you're just staying in a box that doesn't serve you. So make sure it's a little bit more risky, so that it also kind of holds your feet to the fire. And then of course the T, the deadline. I said December 31st. If you wanted to stick with a year from now, that's okay. I know some of you came here specifically because of the 12-week year, so that's why I said December 31st. So do you all have your goal? Did everyone write down their goal, one of their goals? You want to share it in the chat? You totally can. So part of the thing that I am really passionate about, and it's because of working with so many people and seeing so many people, you know, talk about goals and not always accomplish them. The biggest reason is because they didn't execute. They didn't have a plan, and they didn't execute. You know, you see Michael Phelps is the swimmer in this photo, and he won many gold medals, right? He didn't just do it by thinking about it. He didn't even just do it by practicing and writing out his workout plan. He did it by going out and competing and performing and being his highest and best version of himself, no matter what. And he had injuries, he had things happen, and there's times he didn't get gold medals, but he continued to execute. Again, progress, not perfection. So part of the execution of your goals right now is different than it was 6 months ago or whenever COVID hit, right? If you were like me, my action was going to networking events. My action was making a lot of phone calls. My action was going out in the world and meeting people, happy hours and different things. And maybe that wasn't your way of being. That was mine. So when COVID hit, I was actually really devastated initially, because I'm like, well, wait a minute. Do you mean I have to meet people on Facebook and like try to sell on Facebook? Like, I don't get it. Like, really? Do I need to do that? That wasn't my thing. Right? I didn't do email campaigns. I didn't have landing pages. I didn't do any of the things that I now have quickly adapted and pivoted to. And I throw this in here because I think it's really important in business, and this is part of taking action and executing, is going out there every day and finding people to serve. I think everyone here is a business person. So when you're going out and looking for people to talk to, there are some bad habits and some sloppy habits, because I've seen it. I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen it on LinkedIn. And heck, I've even done it myself. You don't know what people are going through until you actually form a relationship and have some kind of connectivity. So this is one of my favorite things. And it's not, this isn't part of the 12-week year, but this is part of your daily activity to accomplish your business goals. And if you've studied Harvey Mackay and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, all a part of foundational business is relationships, right? And so you want to listen to people and ask questions before the assumptive close or just hitting them up the head with your product or service. So if you do that, you're going to scare a lot of people away. you're not going to make the money you thought, and you're going to feel frustrated, and you might waste a lot of time on Facebook and LinkedIn, right? A lot of you are here also for time management advice. This is very specific to that. Okay, so when you're talking to people, you want to set a goal. How many people are you going to talk to per day? So write that down. How many people, and I'm not doing a one-on-one coaching session here. Otherwise, if I was, I'd be asking, you know, what's your income goal? How many appointments do you need? How many conversions? How many sales? That's a whole nother seminar, right? But this is foundational to get you to that income goal. And so FORM stands for family. Occupation is the O. And I'll repeat it. R is recreation. And M is mission or message. And it stands for form the relationship. So a lot of people, when I teach this, and maybe you've heard of this before, I always teach people to put this on their computer somewhere. So when you're making your calls, you're talking to people on Facebook, you always remember, connect with the heart first, not the head. People really want to talk about themselves, especially now. Maybe they had a family member pass away. I had a guy sending me a sales pitch message for his Primerica business in Facebook Messenger, and my brother had just died. And I told him, you know what, I don't have time to talk about this right now, and I didn't tell him what happened. But he kept hitting me up. He kept sending me the same message that night, and I had to block him. I wasn't in the mood. So you have to put yourself in that other person's shoes and say, you know what, I got to check in. How are they doing? How's their family? You know, ask them, how's the family? How are the kids? If they're not married or they're single, you know, it can be really lonely, right? Just ask them how they're doing, first of all, right? The O is how's work, how's business, what's new, what projects are you working on? Show an interest in them, and instead of just vomiting on them about your products or services. And then the R is recreation. You know, what did you do this weekend? What's going on in your life? Are you traveling right now, or because of COVID, maybe not? You know, what do you do for fun? You know, you find out a lot about people when you ask the right questions. And then of course, M, you know, what is their mission? What is their message? All of this is going back to that vision and that why, and finding out what is their vision, their mission in life. And is there a way that maybe your product or service could fill a need for them? Maybe you have a network marketing opportunity. Maybe part of their mission and message is they need another stream of income. Well, again, you don't have to hit them over the head with that. But if you show how much you care, they will be more interested in what you have to sell or offer or share. So set a goal. In summary, set a goal. How many people are you going to connect with online per day? That again will support your 12-week year goals or your end of the year goals. And then how are you going to get them offline? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So again, write it down. How many people do you want to talk to per day? And through that process, you know, if you have a conversation and you talk to these people, it can help you get to your goals, and it helps you save your time. If you set a goal, like I've done power hours, where when we get to the time management part, I'll show you this, but if you can set a goal of how many people you're going to contact in 1 hour, and then you're done. You can be done with that and move on to your next thing. Okay. All right, step number 3 of 5, just to kind of keep you in line here, and I'll for surely be another 10 minutes, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, okay, guys? So because of people that I've talked to and what I've seen, it could be 2 or 3 years, and who knows what that new normal is going to look like. We just don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. So everyone is online or at home right now. So the biggest thing I did this year, and what I'm helping my clients do right now, is building an audience. How do you connect with that audience? How do they find you? And I've been helping people do this really well. One of my best customers, Pierre, he's amazing. He's an audio consultant. He hired me. He's launching his podcast, and now he's got invoices going up and up and up and up because he built an online skill. He learned it. Now he's building it. And even without launching his podcast, he's already attracting new customers. So that's efficiency, guys. That's efficiency. How are you going to attract your tribe? This all goes into what I coach on, and even within the 12-week year, if you have a business goal, you have to find ways to attract people. Attraction marketing is something that I'm really passionate about, because you can't work with everyone. If you think you can work with everyone, you might end up getting that workaholism thing. You're going to answer every phone call. You're going to answer every text message. And I'm really passionate about you guys getting clear on finding and attracting your tribe. So part of one of your 12-week year goals, I'm just throwing out ideas. You don't have to take this on, but could one of your goals be, you know what, I want to add 1,000 people into my email list, and I want to do that by starting a Facebook fan page or a Facebook group. I want to start doing Zoom webinars to attract people into my funnel and attract them into my Facebook group. Or I want to start a blog, excuse me, that people can start following. I want to write a book. I've been helping a lot of authors lately and podcasters launch their book and get their message out there. And lo and behold, they're attracting new customers and new opportunities. Affiliate programs is something that I've joined also to make other streams of income. You know, there's other ways you can start your own affiliate program. That again is a whole nother training, but that's why I have that on here. Building referral partners, joint venture partners. I just did a course last month, and I've done this with other people too. And I got 30 referrals from, you know, a joint email campaign that attracted people into my funnel, attracting my tribe, growing my email list. Do you want to get more active on LinkedIn? And pick one. Oh, by the way, pick one. If you're lucky, like I can multi-purpose, like I live stream into Facebook, I put it into my podcast on iTunes, and it goes into YouTube. So I'm actually doing 3 things at once. Sometimes you can do that. Sometimes that might just be too much for you. And if you're overwhelmed, you're going to do nothing. So pick one thing. And if you can, one other thing to keep in the back of your mind is have a landing page or something with a lead magnet. That could be your ebook, that could be your podcast, that could be your blog, can be on a landing page. All of these things you can research and find out what resonates with you. Podcasting has done very, very well for me. I launched that, I got clients right away. You got to find your way to pull people into your tribe. Once you get people into your funnel, and again, this is supporting your business goals, how do you follow up? Massive action follow-up in the new normal has been very different for me. I don't know about you, but before this whole pandemic happened, I made 20 phone calls a day. And I know some people who make 100 phone calls a day. But I have my kids home. I have a 7 and 11-year-old, and they're home 24/7 with me. Right now they're thankfully doing their studies, and you haven't heard from them yet. But, you know, I had to find new ways to follow up. So I gave into building a Facebook group, and it's been fun. Okay, I gave into email marketing, and I've been studying that and actually doing really well. It's helped me make, you know, several thousands of dollars. Do you have a CRM? What do you use? What is the goal of your CRM? These are all questions. I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I want you to write these questions down. And that reminds me, if anybody wants these slides, shoot me an email. Just shoot me an email, lois@loiscoffee.com, and I will send these slides to you, okay? But I wanted to put this in here because I want to make sure you realize that the fortune is in the follow-up. I didn't put the slide in here, but most sales happen, you know, they say 70 to 80% of the sales happen on the 5th to 12th follow-up. So if you don't have time like me, I don't have time to make phone calls anymore. I just don't. That used to be my bread and butter, going to networking events, all of that kind of stuff. So now I've got to do more with Facebook messaging, email campaigns, LinkedIn messaging, even, you know, voice messaging on Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, I use a ton. But also I have to keep all of this organized and housed into a CRM. And a CRM is a client relationship manager. And I highly recommend you check them out. There's MailChimp, there's Constant Contact, there's a couple different ones that I use if you ever want to hear about those. But I prefer those now that have landing pages and email campaign capability, and not all of them do. So you want to have those as, again, ways to build your audience. That goes back to step number 3. So these questions are things that you want to have in the back of your mind. And then you also we'll get to time blocking on the follow-up and the prospecting stuff here in a little bit. So kind of bringing it home here, and I really want to honor your time. I'm a little bit behind here, but this slide right here just talks about what I call the Kofi sales formula, and making sure that you figure out 8 ways, and this is just an example that's on this slide here. This is part of the master plan of how do you follow up with people. And when I was in real estate, I learned this from my mentor, that you have to follow up at least 8 times to keep people engaged and indoctrinate kind of that how to win friends and influence people concept, right? So making sure that you touch people 8 times, whether it's a phone call, an email, 6 emails and 2 phone calls. How do you get them into your sales funnel and drip on them so that, you know, like Trinette, I believe you started a CBD business, right? And so you want to be known as the CBD expert, right? You want, when people reach out to you or think of CBD, they think of you, is what I was trying to say. So that's what I talk about when I talked about on the previous side, massive action, putting people into your email campaign, your CRM, your funnel. These are all different words that are out there right now and pretty popular. So I hope this is all making sense to you. If not, shoot me an email and say, Lois, you really confused me there. But this is, I've been doing this for 20 years, and it helped me create 6 figures in real estate, fitness, nutritional products, network marketing. And now I still do it with my coaching business, and it works, guys. It works. I have people who sign up for this webinar that I haven't talked to in a long time. And it's because I got them in my funnel, I got them in my email list and dripping on them. And of course, providing value. You know, I'm still getting better at that myself. So the last tip, and then I'm going to be giving you lots of dates and information on how to take action on this, and if you choose, on how to move forward with me from here. But I started with those 4 steps because, and Brian Moran will concur, if you don't have the vision, if you don't have the goals, and you don't master the plan, in the 12-week year, they call it the tactics, but they're daily actions that you set forth on your to-do list. And I have all sorts of tools that I can refer you to as well. But, you know, some people use Google, some people use Calendly. Whatever you do to stay organized in your time, you are a steward of your time and energy. There's no such thing as time management. It's choice management. We're all given the same 24 hours in a day. And people will say, Lois, how do you get so much done? And to be honest with you, it's the 12-week year principles. I look like a workaholic because I have 2 virtual assistants, and I've outsourced and I've delegated, and I really work smart, and I have boundaries. I time block like a ninja. Are you a time choice management ninja? Do you structure your days, your hours, your weeks, your months on paper before you go out and do? So I have this tool, I call it my daily compass. This is something I created actually during the Great Recession when I was losing my mind. I was depressed. I needed to get my stuff on paper, what I was committed to that day. And this keeps me accountable. This is my accountability tool. So I write my day down on paper every day, every morning before I go out and do it. Jim Rohn always says, when do you start your week? When it's finished on paper. So whether you have a journal, a planner, a daily compass, if you get the 12-week year, oh, good job, Trinette. I'm calling on Trinette because for whatever reason, I think it's because she was one of the first ones on. I see her. I can't see everybody, so I apologize if I'm not calling on all of you. But making sure you have that daily guide to direct you, and do not just say, you know what, I'm not going to do that today. That's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen people make. And I've had people just after 7 days of using my daily compass document, they're like, oh my gosh, I felt so much more productive. Another tip I'm going to share with you right here really quickly. Okay, I'm going to share. Where did it go? Ah, here we go. This is inside of the 12-week year. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. You guys are seeing my screen, yeah? Put a thumbs up just so I know. So this is how I design my week and how I work with my clients in designing their week, in making sure that they time block everything. And don't worry if some of these blocks don't make any sense to you. If you read the book, and I do have a free gift at the end that you can hear about here in a second. But if you get the book, this is inside of it and helps you build out your week, your prospecting, your lead generation. How much time are you spending on Facebook to create those relationships and those contacts? How are you following up? How many appointments do you need to book? Have you asked yourself that? How many appointments do you need to book in order to get to your sales goal? I'm assuming almost everyone here has their own business. Hopefully I'm not leaving anyone out. I'm focusing more on the business goals, but just so you know, personal, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, all those goals are important. And even putting time for that stuff on your calendar, your meditation, your spiritual practice, whatever you do to balance and zen your life, your lunches. I noticed he didn't put that on here. There's business lunches, but even putting down when you're going to eat and be mindful and chew your food and be healthy, because this is not about, you're about designing a life and being healthy, right? So I do encourage those personal goals to also be added to your calendar. So play with this, guys. This is part of your action plan that I really want you to take away from today. Even if if you did nothing else and started implementing a daily and a weekly plan and making sure you stick with it, and then take time every day to reflect on, did I really spend my time wisely today? Did I choose wisely? Or was I distracted? Did I self-sabotage myself today? And do it in a way where you're kind to yourself, and it's not about self-sabotage and pulling off the gloves or, beating yourself up, because trust me, we all can do that. I've been very good at that in my life, and being able to have coaches and mentors keep me in line and making sure I stay also kind to myself so I can be kind to others. So set a goal. How many hours a week also are you going to work? How many hours a week are you going to play? Self-care, spiritual time, all of the good stuff that fuels you and can help give you more energy so that you can go out and be the highest and best version of yourself and attract that audience in. That attraction marketing is so critical, and a lot of it starts with how you take care of yourself and how you spend your time. So I didn't go deep into time management, okay, and because I actually have another webinar next Tuesday I wanted to invite you guys to. So next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 Central, 1 Eastern, and whatever that might be in Kenya. If Jackie, you'll translate that. Before I'm done, I'll put the sign up link in here. We're just wrapping up here. I just wanted to give you some additional free stuff and then share with you some testimonials from one of my clients, actually 3 of my clients. So just really quickly share those with you, share my offer, and then of course open it up for Q&A. So this is a client that I met the first week of the pandemic. The quarantine in Mexico hit her so hard because as a musician and a travel agent, both of her businesses were completely shut down and she had no income. And she worked with me. She's now nearly tripled her income, and she's actually got her travel business going again. She started a virtual assistant business, and a lot of it was with these tools that I'm teaching you guys today. Kathy, I actually started working with before the pandemic, so she's a sales manager of Heartland Payment Systems. She was able to take these tools, apply them, and now she's in my online program. She was first a one-on-one client for 12 weeks, then she graduated into the online program, and she's thriving during COVID instead of not thriving. And this has been one of my niches is podcasters, authors, and coaches. She had never really hired a sales coach before. She's starting a new coaching business. She just launched her podcast. And so she recognized just that sales mindset and being able to be of service instead of being a pushy salesperson and freaking out when she hears no. I was able to help her pivot and be able to improve her journey as a salesperson. So just really quickly as I close out, you know, I would not be a good coach if I didn't at least give you guys the opportunity to learn more about how you can, if you can't do this on your own, guys, I always say it doesn't have to be me. Find someone to hold you accountable. Find someone that can hold that mirror in front of you and say, hey, I want to be able to get you to that finish line. I want to help you see yourself higher than you see your own self, right? I actually have 3 coaches. I've got 2, one on retainer for when I have a need, because she's a subconscious mind coach. But I have 2 coaches, and if it wasn't for them throughout all of the things that I've been through, I know I wouldn't be where I am today, which is being able to create, you know, the 5 figures a month that I wasn't expecting to have create earlier this year, without all of the things that I was just teaching you about: building an audience, taking action, email marketing, landing pages, how to do follow-up in this new normal. So I have a $97 a month membership. It can cancel at any time, month to month. Building a mindset, building your 8x8 campaign, managing your time with the 12-week year principles, building an audience and repurposing the content that will last beyond you. I love that part about that. And then of course, if you start next week, every Monday we have this class. It's in a private Facebook group. You end up getting about 3 hours of coaching a month. You're able to network with like-minded people. And we're going to be focusing on our 4th quarter finish and getting ready for 2021. So we're all going to be sharing our goals, in it to win it together. It's right now, it's actually only about a 20-member group, so it's fairly new. But you also get a 1-hour one-on-one coaching session with me included in that, and that's about a $500 value, along with all the other coaching. And then, but wait, there's more. Even if that doesn't interest you, or if it does, anybody that wants to take the principles that I taught today, obviously we're very fast and a lot to take in, but if you want the slides, again, shoot me an email. I'll send you those slides. But being able to do rolling up the sleeves and a deeper dive on Saturday, I'm doing a 3-hour workshop. It's $27, but if you sign up for the $97 monthly membership, I'll throw this in for free, and you're able to have the opportunity to learn how to write and capture that vision more clearly. We're going to talk about how to build out your 8x8 campaign. We're actually going to write out email campaigns during that workshop. I'm also going to talk about how to use landing pages. If you don't have a landing page, that's not a big deal. You don't have to have that. But we're also going to talk about how to prospect on Facebook and LinkedIn, and how to pull people out and into your email campaign. And then just how to have that stick-to-itiveness, fortunes in the follow-up mindset, and build an email list that you can monetize for the rest of your life. So that was a lot. I'll just close with a positive quote, and then we can still open it up for questions if you have time. I apologize that it went almost the whole hour, but I will stay. I'll stay for however long you want to take advantage of this. Since I went over, I want to make sure you get your questions answered. But one of the things that helped me expand myself and go much further, much faster, besides having coaches and mentors and all that, you know, do one thing every day that scares you, whether it's talking to someone on Facebook, using the form technique, whether it's setting a goal that scares you a little bit and taking one step every day towards that achievement for yourself, for your family, your dreams, your legacy, the big picture. You know, this is the kind of stuff that I live for, being able to see you, you know, stretch and reach and grow yourself, because that's what I believe life is all about, expanding outside your comfort zone. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. Does anybody have any questions about anything I trained you on today? And thank you.
I do, Lois.
Yes, Moma.
Could you explain about the Saturday workshop as compared to the 97 a month? I know you said it was month to month. I'm just trying to be on my way.
Yeah. No problem. Let me, I actually am going to share the links for the Saturday thing. So the workshop is probably really the best thing if you're looking like to really roll up your sleeves with me in real time. And actually 3 hours is a long time. So we're going to cover a lot of meat and potatoes of building that list, building that email campaign, building the systems on talking about how to build that audience and actually and taking action on that during that workshop. Whereas the $97 a month is an ongoing build one. It's about 45 minutes per week every Monday where we build upon each other. So it's not really meant to be a workshop, although it's live, but it's 45 minutes at a time, kind of more of a spoon feed, whereas the workshop is meant to really roll up the sleeves and get a lot done during that time frame.
All right, well, I'll be there Saturday.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. And yeah, David, I can talk to you about CRMs and email campaigns. I consult on that. You know, there's different tools out there and you got to find the right one for you. I will say I've gone through probably about, a dozen in 20 years. So I've also made a lot of mistakes and wasted a lot of money and time, because when you start and stop different systems, you got to import and export and all of the things. And so we can talk about that offline. Any other questions?
Hello. Oh.
Hi.
Hi. Haram is here.
Hey, Haremy,
Yes.
how are you?
Good. How about you?
Excellent.
Hey. Yes. I often hear about this story, like a very bottom line. There's nothing to, everything lost or something, and then come back, like you did. How people can come back? I mean, because that's a strong desire to come back.
Oh, that's such a deep question.
Yeah.
I think it's like if you've ever seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness or The Shawshank Redemption, same thing, same thing. I do believe it's like what Napoleon Hill talks about: faith, belief, and desire. You know, finding that deep purpose and deep meaning to keep going, a reason for being.
Even though you're really like discouraged at the bottom of life or kind of losing hope, you still have that faith to believe.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and if you've ever seen, there's so many movies that are examples. I just think if you're still here and you're still breathing, there's a purpose for you to be here, and you just gotta go. You just gotta go and find it, and that's part of my belief in myself is, you know, I'm still here, so I better get busy and do what I can to make an impact. You know, how can I make a difference? That's my perspective on it, but I do think it comes down to what Napoleon Hill talks about is faith, belief, and desire, and never giving up.
Yes, thank you. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
So we talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, and then second one, listen and form. Right, family, occupation, recreation, mission, and then you said some. If you're done, then move on. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yes. Say that again now. So after the form, or after step
Yeah,
number
form.
2, did I confuse you?
No. Well, and then you said something. If you're done, then move to next. So what that mean?
Okay. So yep. Now I gotcha. So part of the time blocking and
Yes.
what I coach people, because I've personally experienced this, kind of what I was giving that example as an Ironman triathlete, I compartmentalized my training, right? So I was focused on this hour on swimming, and then I was done and I moved on. Next time it's like the power of fully and just being engaged in whatever it is, right? And then I'm done. So when you're prospecting on Facebook or LinkedIn, and this is what we'll do a lot of on the workshop on Saturday, is really just setting a goal and saying, you know, how many contacts do you want to talk to, and then just then be done. Because one of the biggest mistakes I see, and I've done it, I don't know if anybody else can relate, but I'll get on Facebook and I'm think, oh, I'm just going to talk to a few people. And then 3 hours later, I'm still on Facebook. And then I read someone's post and it pissed me off and I was in a bad mood, and you know what I mean? So you want to compartmentalize even your time on Facebook and say, you know what, I'm going to go in, I'm going to go post in my groups. I'm going to go send private messages to, let's say, 5 people. I'm going to have maybe 15 minutes of exchange and conversation. And then I'm going to get off and I'm going to go to the.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense, because otherwise you just keep going, keep doing it, right, without realizing you're spending so much time.
That's why I coach on this, because the biggest time
waster. So easy.
Yes, the biggest time waster is, in my opinion, these are mine, is number one, I love to set, I don't have any of my notifications turned on. I even have my phone on Do Not Disturb basically 24/7. Because everybody wants your time. And they will, yes, there's a recording. Yep, I got it. Yeah, I'll be emailing out the recording. So everybody wants your time. And everybody has a fire to put out or an emergency that they're like, you need to talk to me. It's like, mommy, daddy, you know. Don't let that happen, because that, even if it's a prospect, sometimes we're like, oh, I got to close the sale. They want to talk to me. And then if it wasn't maybe an appointed time or schedule, it might ended up actually being a waste of time. You got to focus on that time, that ideal work week that I showed you, that's in the 12-week year.
Yeah.
That Brian Moran will talk about even more next Tuesday. I just posted the link to that free webinar too. The 12-week year with Brian Moran is next Tuesday. If you want to hop on that and go deeper into time blocking and deeper into balance. Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah, there's a psychology behind notifications. They give you a dopamine hit. Alcohol does the same thing. Fitness does the same thing, and they can all be very addictive. Facebook addiction, checking your WhatsApp notifications or your LinkedIn notifications or your email notifications, it all can spike and cause that need of feeling needed. We all want to be loved and needed, right? And so a lot of times that's why we go into Facebook overload, or checking our email every 5 minutes, or checking our text messages every 5 minutes. And guess what? You're not making money doing that.
Right. Wow, it makes so much sense. Thank you.
Good.
I didn't realize that. Yes, right. So it's so easy to just keep doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of this, just so you know, it's taken me, 13 years, ever since Facebook was, I think it was actually during the Great Recession, like what, 2007? And then I was a stay-at-home mom. I created a lot of sloppy habits during that time. And it was when I read the 12-week year that I got really in alignment, and then applying it and doing it over and over. Someone's just jumping in right now. We're almost done, but.
So this 12-week year, that's for me the first time to hear. So I was not sure what that means, 12-week year. So I posted, what is that?
Yes. So yes, I'm sorry if I missed any questions in the chat before, feel free to ask them now. But the 12-week year is designed to really debunk annualized thinking. It's based on science, by the way, the Olympians of the 1970s, they discovered periodization. So it's not a brand new concept. It's just how it's packaged in this book. It does help you with peak performance and focus. And that's why we talked vision, goals, tactics, and then some of the other things that I teach on that can help you manage your time so much better. Because I started my podcast, another example, and I started a Facebook group that supports my podcast. I have a YouTube channel. Now I have people calling me, wanting me to be their coach, because they've been able to consume this information online, and I didn't have to make the phone call, right? So that's why I include that as part of my 12-week year training, even though it's not part of the book, because right now, you got to be found. You got to have people see your information, want to follow you, want to be a part of your tribe. And after they consume your content on their own time, I've had several coaching clients now, they hired me because they watched a lot of my YouTube videos. And I'm like, gosh, I hope they were good. But I guess if they're hiring me, they're okay. Right?
Yeah, great.
Awesome. I'm just looking.
Lois, there's two options on Amazon. The 12-week year, it looks like there's a book and then there's a field guide. Do you know what the difference is?
Oh yeah. If you can, I would get both. If you can't, just start with a book. Just start with a book. That's perfect. Yeah, that's okay. I started with a book, and literally, I didn't say this, but I did 2 12-week years back to backs, which again is like 6 months, right? And I got way more done, I felt like, than I had the previous 6 years. And it just skyrocketed my business at that time. And so at the end of the day, the book is where I started, but I will say I needed something new, and then I got the field guide, and the field guide is actually like a workbook. So you can take notes and you can write out your vision inside of it. The book, you can't do that. So if you're more of a visual person, I guess, and you like to write down and take notes, I don't think it's a bad idea to get the field guide if you were like deciding between the two. But otherwise, start with a book, get the field guide later.
So is the field guide like a journal?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have a daily journal that I use that breaks down the 10 gratitudes and then 3 goals and then plan of action. So I don't know if it would, and I just got that. So I don't know if they would cross over and I'm doing too many things. I'm really good at that. You know me well enough. I'm really good at, 5 notebooks for 5 different things. So
Yeah, no, and that's perfect. Yeah, just get the book. Just get the book. Start with that since you already have that, but keep in the back of your mind, maybe the next 12-week year or in 2021, the field guide is phenomenal.
Okay.
But you already spent the money. So, and then not to confuse you even more, now they have the 12-week year planner. So I added that, but keep in mind, I've been doing this for 5 years. So they just actually produced those, started last year, and it's actually really cool. And then I do have online software that you can also log in your 12-week year goals, your tactics, and measure them. I do also share that with clients. I'm not trying to sell you on that today, but just keep that in the back of your mind because I sell it cheaper than the 12-week year does. So if you ever felt like, you know what, I'd love a software where I can input my stuff and then it tracks and scores everything for me, that's awesome. Because if you like graphs and seeing, all of that, the software is pretty cool.
Okay, I do, but I also like paper. I'm still a paper planner person with lots of color and to help me dictate, and then now I've just recently started the time blocking, which has really made a difference in my life.
Awesome.
So thank you for today. It was awesome.
Good. And then since we have a smaller group, I don't normally do this, but if you want to come off mute and share the one thing that you're going to take action on moving forward.
I need to work on developing the 8x8 follow-up.
Okay.
And I have 2 businesses, but I want to focus on the CBD business with this.
Awesome. Like I said, I know you can't do the workshop this weekend. I hope to offer it again. I just don't know when. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I say this is great timing because I'm in the process of literally looking at my goals, what I want to do in all areas of my life. And I see what Saturday will be a big benefit for me because I'm just getting started and I don't know nothing about nothing. So I'm excited about the possibilities. I can't thank you enough, Lois.
Oh, you're so sweet, Wilma. I know, I'm excited too. I was like, this is like perfect timing. So cool.
Yeah.
We got Harumi, Jackie, Valerie. I know Trish just joined us. So anyone else, no pressure. You don't have to share.
So
This is
when you
Val, I'm gonna just say that, like, honestly, taking a page from Peg the other day, like, I've got so many coals in the fire. What I need to do is actually take time to focus on and make a plan and determine what I need to focus on or what I'm going to focus on, instead of just going, oh, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm all over here and here and here and here and here, and I'll do this today. And I'm spread out so thinly over everything that I'm not focused on any one thing well enough to make progress on any of it. So I need to take the time, carve out like a block of time, and go through, think about things, kind of make a game plan on each one and see where I'm going to hit the most bang for my buck. I think at this point, really dive into that one for now, and then, move into other things after that. But I just have to figure out what that is. So there's that. That's a journey. Yes. And it's okay to say, you know what, I want to do that, and it can wait 12 weeks or whatever. Cool. Awesome. Harumi or Jackie or anyone else?
So I have a question. So when we talk about number one, build your mindset every day and set daily goals. And what is my vision? So vision is like a goal.
Yes, that was when I was saying, and this is just my perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've manifested a lot of things since I've read this book, and having more clarity of purpose in my vision. And what I feel good about is I recorded on my phone, so I have like 2.5 minutes of my own voice saying, it is November 2020, and I am so happy and grateful that X, Y, Z, one of the things was podcast, and I did that, and other income streams and other things, all of that stuff, personal goals, relationship goals. I am so happy and grateful, and it's done. It's acting as if today was that date. So that's why I said pick a date, December 31st, 2020, or a year from now, if you're just like, I don't know what I want to accomplish by the end of the year. No problem. Just pick a date, though. That's part of the specific, measurable, attainable timeline, deadline, goal.
Yes.
If we don't have a deadline, people just wander, aimlessly.
That's true.
And so being able to put a deadline, and even if you don't hit the goal, that's what Brian Moran and I talked about on my podcast, is it's okay. Change the deadline, keep the goal, and then just refine what didn't work. What was your distraction? What was holding you back? That's where, again, for me, I need my coaches to slap me around for that, some of that, but pick something and I speak it as if it's already happened. Some people just do vision boards, and other people, just write out goals. I like to have it in that past tense form, like it's already done.
Thank you.
Cool. Excellent, Jackie. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm just reading your message here, and I hope you guys don't mind. I kept the recording going. Forgive me, I didn't ask if you wanted me to stop. So you can hopefully hear yourself say this, whatever you just committed to. And then 3 months from now, or at the end of the year, you can go back and watch this video and say, you know what, I did it. Applying whatever you want, and then you can always come back to this recording. Okay. Any other questions before we drop off?
Good
Wonderful.
to see you.
Well, great to see you too. Thanks. Trinette just came just to see me. So I'm like, oh, this is a good thing. All right, guys. Thank you again, because I know, you can't get this hour back. So pat yourself on the back, congratulate yourself, and take action, execute, and I'll get this recording out to you as soon as possible. All right.